Your intelligence is not protecting you. It's the reason you can't sleep at night. That's not a metaphor. That's what decades of psychological research keeps finding. And by the time you finish watching, you're going to understand exactly how your own brain is manufacturing the very misery you've been trying to outthink. You felt it. 2 in the morning, eyes open, ceiling staring back, your mind cycling through a conversation from 6 hours ago, a decision from 3 years ago, and a crisis that hasn't even happened yet. You tell yourself you're being analytical, careful, thorough. But here's what's actually happening. Your brain isn't solving problems. Your brain is creating them. And it's been doing it your entire life. By the time this ends, you'll understand exactly where that noise comes from, why it gets louder, the sharper your mind becomes, and the one shift that separates people who channel their intelligence from people who are crushed by it. And the reason most intelligent people never escape this? It's simpler and stranger than you think. Psychologists have a term for what's happening inside your head right now. They call it hyperactive cognitive processing. In plain language, your brain has an internal motor that never shuts off. Most people have a mental off switch. They finish a conversation. They move on. They close their laptop. Their brain quiets down. Their internal motor idles when it's not needed. Yours doesn't. Give a highly intelligent brain a problem, it solves it. Give it 2, it solves both. Give it nothing, and it will manufacture something. It will scroll back through your day, find a conversation where you said something slightly imprecise, and replay it 37 times. It will pull up a mistake you made in 2019 and relitigate it with evidence you didn't have at the time. It will borrow problems from your future, breakups that haven't happened yet, failures that may never materialize, and simulate them in excruciating detail. Most people stop thinking when there's nothing left to think about. Your brain doesn't recognize nothing left to think about as a valid category. And here's the mechanism behind it. In highly intelligent people, the default mode network, the brain circuit that activates when you're not focused on anything external, doesn't just stay online. It becomes hyperconnected. It links regions that normally operate independently, which means a memory of embarrassment can trigger financial anxiety, which can trigger existential dread, which can all converge on your ceiling at 2:14 in the morning. You're not overthinking because you have too many problems. You're overthinking because your brain's wiring treats every thought as an invitation to a conference that nobody called. But here's where the story becomes even more uncomfortable. Because the internal motor doesn't just run when you're alone in the dark. It's running in every room you walk into, every hand you shake, every party you stand in the corner of. And that's where it starts costing you people. Your intelligence gives you something most people don't have: pattern recognition. You see the subtext in conversations before the other person finishes their sentence. You notice inconsistencies in people's stories, in their logic, in their self-presentation. You pick up on micro-expressions, tone shifts, the tiny tells that reveal what someone actually believes versus what they're saying out loud. This sounds like a superpower. For a while, it feels like one. But then something strange happens. People don't open up to you the way they open up to others. Friends describe you as intense. Colleagues respect you, but don't invite you to things. You've spent years assuming this is just the price of being sharp. But what if it's not the price of being sharp? What if it's the cost of never turning off the scan? So sit with this for a second. If you've ever been told you're intimidating, or intense, or too much, what people were actually reacting to wasn't your intelligence. It was the fact that your brain was scanning them in real time, building a model of who they are. and updating that model faster than they could manage their own presentation. Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dąbrowski identified this decades ago. He called it overexcitability, specifically intellectual overexcitability, the mind that processes too intensely, too deeply, too constantly. And his research found something most people get wrong about intelligence. The problem isn't the depth of processing. It's that the processing never stops long enough for connection to happen. You're analyzing someone's words while they're still saying them. You're predicting their next sentence while they're still forming it. You're comparing what they're telling you now to what they told you 3 weeks ago, and noticing the discrepancy and filing it away. And somewhere in all of that processing, you forgot to actually be in the conversation. The other person feels it. They can't name it, but they know something is off. They feel observed, evaluated, like they're talking to a camera that never blinks. And here's where the whole thing turns over on you. The isolation you feel, the sense that people don't really get you, that you're somehow on the outside of something everyone else seems inside of. You've been attributing it to being different, to being smarter, to being ahead. But what if it's not about being ahead? What if you've been standing outside the room, not because you're above it, but because you never actually walked in? If this is landing for you, subscribing helps more than you think. Now let's keep going, because the next section is the one most intelligent people never reach on their own. So here's the uncomfortable truth. The problem isn't that you think too much. The problem is that you've confused thinking with control. You believe that if you can analyze something deeply enough, if you can map every variable and account for every possibility, you'll eventually reach a place of certainty, a place where you finally feel safe. But certainty isn't the reward for deep thinking. It's the price you pay for stopping too early. The people who seem certain, the ones who sleep through the night, who inhabit their opinions without second guessing, who move through the world without the weight of constant analysis, they're not more correct than you. They're just more comfortable with being wrong, or more precisely, they're less aware of how wrong they probably are. Your intelligence refuses to grant you that comfort. And this is where the paradox tightens. The smarter you are, the more variables you can hold in your head at once. The more potential outcomes you can simulate. The more ways you can imagine things going wrong. Which means the smarter you are, the harder it becomes to feel certain about anything. A less analytical brain says, I think this is right, so I'll act. Your brain says, I think this is right, but I also thought that was right in 2018, and it wasn't. And there are 12 factors I haven't accounted for. And the study I'm basing this on had a sample size of only 87. And I should probably sleep on it. Except I won't sleep because my brain doesn't shut off. This is not a flaw in your thinking. This is your thinking working exactly as designed. The problem is that it was designed to solve puzzles, not to live a life. Your brain is a precision instrument that you've been using as a security blanket. You keep asking it to tell you everything will be okay. But your brain doesn't deal in okay. It deals in probabilities, ambiguities, edge cases, and worst-case scenarios. It's not built to reassure you. It's built to keep you alert. And if you never teach it the difference between this is a threat and this is just uncomfortable, it will default to threat every single time. So what do you actually do? 3 things. First, name the noise. When you catch yourself spiraling at 2 in the morning, stop and say it out loud, or write it down. This is my internal motor. This is not insight. This is my default mode network running uncalibrated. Labeling the mechanism detaches you from it. You stop being the person who can't sleep and become the person observing a cognitive process. That shift is small, but it's the difference between drowning in the river and standing on the bank watching the current. Second, give your brain a real problem. Your internal motor doesn't shut off just because you want it to, but it will redirect. When you feel the spiral starting, give your brain something concrete and finite to process. A puzzle, a language exercise, a specific question with an actual answer. Your brain wants to chew on something. If you don't feed it, it will eat itself. Feed it something digestible. Third, and this is the one most people skip, stop treating uncertainty as failure. Your intelligence will never give you certainty. It's not supposed to. The people who feel certain are not people who thought more carefully than you. They're people who stopped asking questions earlier. The goal isn't to stop the questions. The goal is to stop punishing yourself for asking them. So the real question isn't, how do I stop overthinking? It's why though. Why does your brain, the same brain that can solve problems nobody else around you even sees, refuse to let you rest? Why does intelligence so reliably produce anxiety, isolation, and exhaustion instead of peace? And the answer brings us right back to where we started. Your intelligence was never designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep you alive in a world where missing a pattern could get you killed. For most of human history, the person who noticed the rustle in the bushes, who remembered which berries made someone sick last season, who could predict a rival's next move, that person survived. The person who felt at peace with the world, who assumed everything would be fine, who didn't lie awake running scenarios, they didn't become your ancestors. Your brain is an ancient survival tool running modern software. It doesn't know the difference between a predator and a poorly worded text message. It doesn't know the difference between a rival tribe and a social gathering where you don't know anyone. It only knows one thing: stay alert, find patterns, predict threats, survive. So the noise in your head at 2 in the morning, that's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that something ancient is working exactly as it was built to. The question isn't how to shut it off, it's how to tell it, gently and repeatedly, that you are not in danger, you are just awake, you are just thinking, you are just alive, in a world that, for the first time in human history, doesn't require constant vigilance to stay that way. And now, at least, you know to ask. And that's why new question drops Tuesday and again Friday. Keep asking.